Hey, welcome, people. This is the movies that move. We are talking about what movie today, Nick K?
We're talking about The Color Purple today.
Color Purple, holiday favorite in a lot of households. It usually gets a lot of play.
Yes.
1985 movie. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't know. Directed by Steven Spielberg. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people think of Steven Spielberg when it comes to Jaws and when it comes to the Indiana Jones movies and a lot of other blockbusters like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he ended up directing this movie. And it's
Yeah.
funny because it has a predominantly black cast, quite predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
For many of us, it was the introduction of Whoopi Goldberg, Margaret Avery, even though we had seen her before. It's like, where do we know her from? We knew her from Which Way Is Up.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Pryor, she played Richard Pryor's wife, Annie Mae. Yeah, y'all ought to check that out. We may have to talk about that movie one day.
Look, I'm gonna have to
But
check
yeah,
it
The
out.
Color Purple. Yeah, The Color Purple was really well made,
Mm-hmm.
so well made and so well acted that for some years, for a little while, until I saw Danny Glover play Sergeant Murtaugh, Roger Murtaugh, I had a thing against that dude where he
To this
played Mr.
day,
Yeah,
people still
he
look at him
played
and bristle.
Mr. Yeah, he played Mr. like to the
Oh, he
bone.
played it well.
Yeah,
He
he
played
played it
it
well.
well.
He really
But
did. And good acting though. Great acting
mhm,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah, great acting.
everybody. Um, you talk about Whoopi Goldberg, but even Oprah Winfrey
Yeah,
was
that's her
in
first
this.
acting role
This
of
was
note.
her
Yeah,
first big beginning to end role, and
yeah.
at the time,
Miss Sophia.
she
Sophia. Mm-hmm.
she I think she was just starting her talk show
Yeah,
career, and she was very
yeah.
successful in that, being the
Big
only
time.
black
Big time.
talk show host with a nationally syndicated
Mm-hmm.
show. So people are like,
Yep.
okay, she can do that. And, she can keep up
Started
with
out in Chicago, if I'm
right.
correct, on AM Chicago, which was
Hmm.
of course, a TV show that we used to catch from time to time.
Local.
I didn't get a chance to see that unless I was at
Mhm.
home playing sick.
Right. But
But
the
it's
thing
not like
is,
I'll be watching it though.
like you pointed out, she started local and
Yep,
went national. And for a
sure
black
did.
woman to get into that game was a big deal.
Huge deal because like Donahue was her main
He was it.
competition back then.
He was it.
Phil
Donahue
Donahue.
and
Yep.
Sally Jesse Raphael, they were holding down those numbers. They were holding down those
Sally
rooms.
Jesse Raphael wasn't even in the game like that, not nationally anyway.
Well,
Back then,
she knocked Sally Jesse out. And people were like, hold on. Harpo, who this woman? When she
no,
came
I
on.
think Sally Jesse came a little bit later on, but Oprah was back in the early '80s,
Mm-hmm.
and of course Phil Donahue was running things by then because my
Oh,
grandmother would like if I had played sick,
thank
because my grandmother lived not far from where my elementary school was,
you.
and
Mm-hmm.
the best thing you could always say that could get you out of class is my stomach hurts because
Yep.
nobody can verify that. You don't have to be bleeding from anything or anything like that. You either
You
say,
make
I
a
just got
face
a
and lean
headache.
over. Yeah.
Yep, I got a headache. Oh, my stomach hurts.
Yep.
And my grandmother would she waited for that.
Nope.
Yeah, so I would,
I couldn't pull that one
yeah.
off. They have this tea in my family that they'll give you that'll straighten you right on up. They're like, we'll give you some Cersei tea.
Mm,
And you're like, no, no, I don't
yeah,
want it.
no,
But
man.
anyway,
I,
Oprah,
uh-huh,
Oprah being in this at that time was a big deal because
yes,
everyone knew her as a
huge
talk
deal.
show host, and it
Yes,
was
yes.
like, but can she act? And when she
Can
showed
she
up
act?
as Miss Sophia,
Miss Sophia,
everyone
Sophia.
was like,
I was
okay.
married now.
I was like, look, when she came marching through the cornfield, they were like, okay,
There's a line in there.
she's
I
busy.
don't know if she flubbed it
Mm,
or if I think she did flub it, but it came off so good that Spielberg just left it in there. Said, if you want to have a dead son-in-law, keep advising on the way you do.
mm-hmm.
But the thing is, she's talking about Harpo. So Harpo would have actually been Seeley's
Stepson.
what? And it wasn't a, that's a stepson. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
wasn't her son-in-law, but it came off so good. I think I want to say I may have read somewhere that was the first take, but it was so impassioned and so good, he just left it in there. So if you're not really paying too much attention, you'd be like, hey,
it wasn't.
okay,
It
go with
really
it.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You pointed it out, but I was like, yeah, she had all that fight muster, and even when she walked off and threw that look back, like,
Now, low key in the movie, and if you blink, you'll miss him, even though he's in there throughout the film, is Lawrence Fishburne. And this was during a time where Lawrence Fishburne, he hadn't made School Days yet. He'd already been a child actor because we knew him from Apocalypse Now is where the world knew him from. We knew him from Cornbread Earl and Me, which is what, we went to see that at the drive-in or whatever and stuff. And oh man, they shot Cornbread. Oh my God. Oh, with the knee-high soda, the orange knee-high. Oh man. Or as we call it in Chicago, pop. Yeah, knee-high pop, that orange pop. Oh my goodness, man. Cornbread. You shot Cornbread. We had a lower key presence here in this movie. He was one of Harpo's buddies, and he would always be around with the juke joint and stuff like that. What we remember him from, besides that real cool clapping at them, on God's Got to Tell You Something, besides that, because you got to do the overbite, and he reminds me of my dad when he does that. But besides that, you remember, no, Miss Sophia, no,
Miss Sophia, and he's taking the kids away.
Scene, I'm gonna tell you this: that scene, man, that was a cool scene because you never saw her hit him, but Steven Spielberg, being the master filmmaker that he is, he knew exactly how to
frame stuff. Because even, what was the other scene that I was watching where I was like, he really captured the tension when young Miss Seeley was giving Mr. the shave for the first time, and he was she had just put the shaving cream on him, and she had her finger right here, and it was quiet except for all environmental noise. Mosquito on his hand, and if that mosquito had bit him and she was about to put the blade on, the kid was swinging in front of him, and the camera is just honing in on all of these things, and just as she's about to put the blade, he says, "If you cut me, I'll kill you." And he comes up on the camera angle of his chin and her eyes, and just every bead of sweat, and her eyes are huge, and it's like, oh, you just gonna take us all the way into her nerves right now about how nervous. And then just as she gets it here, the mailbox slams and he jumps. And he's a
lot of tension.
Yeah.
Even jumping forward a bit to adult Seeley when she was about to shave him. And I remember seeing this. I was a kid at the time. I was a teenager. And when I went to go see it, everybody's like, oh, this is based on this lady, Alice Walker. She wrote this novel. And oh, man, but they changed this about and changed it. I had never even read the novel at that time. I ended up reading it eventually. But I remember the scene where they were doing the ritual where Adam was getting married, and they were doing the ritual scarification over in Africa, and it was interposed, I hope that's the right word, with or juxtaposed, if you want to say, but they were playing both scenes simultaneously, and I'm thinking that they were about to like sacrifice these kids. I'm like, oh no, they're about to cut their throats or whatever, because what does Seeley say? Because they have the music playing, Seeley, oh yeah. She's like, tilt your head back. and then they show the kids. And it's like, oh no, she about to cut Mister's head clean off.
Yep.
But by that time,
again, you know what? That build of tension.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And the funny thing is this, had she cut his head clean off, I think she would have been more than justified. She was definitely abused. And the takeaway from this movie, and I know we're nowhere near the end of this video, but the greatest takeaway is the triumph. It's learning to accept yourself, maybe not being what people would consider the prettiest person or the most, because you remember when Mr. was reading her and they were at the table, and this was right before she left. And he started talking about, yeah. Oh my God, did she stop him in his tracks or what?
Yep.
Everything you done to me, already done to you. Whoa. But man, listen. And he started talking about Suge is pretty. She got spunk. She talented. What can you do? Belittling her, trying to break her down to the lowest denominator, and still she comes back. Now, in the movie, they show, because movies typically will show rather than tell, which is good. But in the book, even though everything was like a diary entry, it was a prayer, actually. Dear God, that's how it would start off. And she talked about how Albert, and I don't know if she's calling him Albert by then, how they became really good friends. They never really got off into that in the movie. It really wasn't necessary, because when he goes out there into the chicken coop and gets the money out after he got the mail and stuff, and then when you see him out there in the field and he's out there with his mule, that old mule Joey, he's out there with the mule and he waves at her and stuff like that. He was trying to make peace and stuff, Right. But in the book, he would come by her shop, come by her house, and he'd sit on the porch and they'd actually converse. And he asked her if he could, would you marry me again? Now, of course, she told him no, which is the right thing to say. But they actually had a friendship going and like that. So it was actually pretty interesting how things turned around. But she had to find herself. And I'm thinking between that and the scene where she's there for the holiday and the mayor's wife has her ride with her, and she said, I'm going to take you to go see your family. You can stay there all day.
Yes.
All day. Yeah, man. But of course, she got
you a favor.
Man, yeah. She got enough time to take her coat kind of off her shoulders. And then before you know it, she's just bringing it right back on up. Yeah, and that actress, I cannot remember her name, but she's been in a lot of stuff. She's been a character actor for a long time.
Yeah,
she played that role to a T because you did not like her at all, and that was the point. You weren't supposed to. Yeah.
Well,
but they got me Sophia though.
It speaks to Alice Walker's research of the time period as well.
Because it definitely was a period piece. Yes.
So she really dug down into the period which we really dig into the story around the 20s, but like the late 1800s, early 1900s, moving forward. Excuse me. And while she focused mainly on the Black families, the sharecropping, the post-slavery end of it, people owned their land, they were living independently. You still get that aspect of this is what life in the South was like for Black people. They still had to go into these shops and you couldn't stand around. You had to go in, be about your business, and get right out, because if you stand around,
you gonna buy something, girl?
Right. You want that fabric or not? We can't, you can't
exactly.
on it for too long. Right.
Yeah.
And again, Sophia's standing there languishing after her child. And the shop owner's like, what are you doing? Get out kind of attitude. Those little nuanced details still existed in the story to let you know that, these people were kind of free, but they weren't really free. And then within their relationships, you see where the men had certain freedoms.
Oh, yeah.
But the women not so much.
Exactly. Not even not so much, but just, I mean, more than not so much. When you saw how Celie's character, how she was molested, not just molested, I mean, hell, just out and out, just
abused,
raped, abused, taken advantage of by her father, to the extent that she had 2 babies by him.
Yep.
Now, of course, years later we find out that wasn't her natural father, but even still, a man put into that position as a father figure,
get away with it.
Yeah. You don't abuse that. But check this out. How did her mother die? Do you remember what she said about how her mother died, or how it was said that her mother died? Huh?
She said her mother
She's
died.
heartbroken, but she was cussing him out as she died. Because she knew what he had done. She knew what he had done. Yeah, he could probably hide her a little bit and have her, over there and stuff. But traditionally,
he even said it. He even said it after she had her child. He said, "You better not ever tell your mama."
You're the killer. Yep.
You're the killer. So it's like he did it shamelessly.
Oh yeah, he didn't care. And
put out to mess with her sister.
Sure did. She wasn't having that though. She wasn't having that.
Right.
Yeah. Nettie, played by Akuzia Buzia. Oh my goodness.
Royalty.
What a beautiful, big time royalty. Big time royalty. A princess. In fact, in real life.
Right.
Used to be the wife of John Singleton, the late, great John Singleton. I remember when he got married to her, I was a little upset about that, even though I was nowhere in the running, because that's just a beautiful woman. Oh my gracious. That dark, beautiful skin with that jet black hair. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you where she did some heavy lifting. Of course, when Mr. tried to get a hold to her and she hit him with the school books. And of course, again, Steven Spielberg, being the master filmmaker that he is, allowed you to see the 2 of them go off into the bush.
Right.
And you just, you heard, ugh! And then she comes out swinging those books. And you saw everything, you heard and saw everything that you needed to see.
You saw what you needed to see.
Exactly.
And that really speaks to the time, because if that film were done today for effect, I think directors would not be so discreet. They'd be like, "Oh no, we have to show it.
Oh yeah.
We have to show that."
A lot of time it's what you don't see. See. One of the things, and this is a movie you probably have not seen, one of the movies that came out when I was a kid, and it's not that my mom was with this stuff, because she was not. My dad would take us to the drive-in. We had 3 guys that would take us to the drive-in. We had my dad, he would take us, and then I had an Uncle Marshall, who was my brother's goddad. And he would take us, along with his daughter, my cousin, LaTanya. He would take us to the drive-in quite a bit. And then I had an uncle named Uncle Curtis. And Uncle Curtis would take us, and he would take, matter of fact, that's Rick Party's dad. He would take us all. It would be a car full of children, and he would take us, and we'd be sitting on each other's laps trying to jockey for position so we could see the screen and stuff. And we went to go see Alien. I want to say my dad took us to go see Alien. We went to see Alien, and I'm going to tell you this. Of course, Star Wars had just come out maybe 2 years before that, 1977. And if I remember correctly, Alien came out in 79. And up until that point, we had not had space horror. It was not a thing yet. We had horror, and we had science fiction movies with, schlocky looking B-movie type, monsters and stuff. But it wasn't until Alien that you got this thing where you never got to see, for the longest part in the movie, what that thing completely looked like. And it scared the hell out of you. So a lot of time, that was Ridley Scott. That was his magnum opus starting off.
Right.
And that's what got him a lot of notice, but it was not seeing stuff, being able to hear it, seeing a little bit of it, and seeing enough to let your imagination run wild. Same thing with Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Steven Spielberg making this movie, and a lot of movies too. Because of course, Color Purple is not what he's even known for, and a lot of people may be surprised to find out that it was Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is a hit during holidays all the time in Black households. It's one of those movies that get a lot of watching. It definitely comes on some of the channels like BET and TV One, those types of channels.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
All the time on BET. It's a regular run. Regular
big
run.
Time.
But the thing is,
and it has that.
It has what do you call it? Staying power, and it
does.
This is a generational movie. This isn't anything that's just. This ain't your mama's movie. It's not just
your mama's movie. You're right. This is your mama's movie, all right.
Yeah. But this is one of those things because, like, my niece, she has this whole thing memorized.
Yeah, man.
Entire thing, beginning to end. Especially that scene with Miss Sophia around the dining table.
Mm-hmm.
She can sit there and recite.
When she came back to what did old Mister say? I used to tell my daughter this all the time. The dead has arisen. I used to say that every time I would wake my daughter. My kids love to sleep when they do sleep. And when they were kids, I go to wake them up maybe for breakfast or time to get ready to go to school or whatever, But a lot of time, I just like to mess with them. And I go into the room and, I may wake them up. It take them a while before they finally come downstairs. And, I see my daughter. I just
do the whole voice.
The dead has arisen. Huh?
You do the whole voice and everything.
Old Mister, played by Adolph Caesar. And that was his last... That was his last movie of note. I think there was something else that he was in after that, but that was the last movie that we would remember him in. What do we know Adolph Caesar from? Two things, if nothing else.
Was it Officer and a Gentleman?
No, A Soldier's Play. Well, the play was A Soldier's Play. The movie was A Soldier's Tale.
Okay.
We remember him as Sarge, and he was mean. He said, CJ, the black race can't afford you no more. We're going to talk about that movie one day too.
Yes.
But the other place that we remember Adolph Caesar from, was like, why is his voice sound so familiar? He used to do all of the black movie promos. He would do he did those, and he also did A Mind is a Terrible Thing to Waste. He used to do those commercials.
That's
the United Negro College Fund. But he used to do all of the voiceovers for the black movies that were coming out. Now, Don LaFontaine would do a lot of the general stuff, and he would do the In a World. That was my boy, man, Don LaFontaine, In a World.
I'm going to talk to you about that one day.
Yeah, Don LaFontaine was not in The Color Purple, but Adolph Caesar was. Yeah, man. He said, what you need to get yourself
got that nasty girl.
Young wife. You got that nasty woman to see. She got legs like baseball bats.
Oh my goodness.
She said she didn't set the population of Hartwell County a new high.
Yes.
Hartwell, a new high. Yep.
He was like,
Celia, you has my sympathies. Huh?
He was like, you can't vouch for all of them children being yours.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh, Mister was something else.
You never saw their kid, whatever kids they had together, you never saw those children.
In
the movie.
You just heard about it. You just heard about it. You just heard about it. I mean, you saw enough of what you needed to see. You didn't have to go and meet the kids and see what their motivation was. You saw exactly what you needed to see. Not over expository. It told you what needed to be told, what needed to be said, and all that stuff. Yeah, man. But a really great movie. Some people don't like it because I remember I had a friend of mine who said he doesn't like seeing black folks act that way or whatever like that. He's probably thinking about like the juke joint scene where the boy said, "Girl, you catch a fish without a hook."
But you know what? this is what I love about it. It's like all that language and stuff like that. I love the juke joint scene because
oh my goodness,
as Sophia balled her fist up, the
man.
piano player was like, "Oh, gotta go."
That was
up quick.
That guy who was playing the piano who said, "Well, gotta go."
Mm-hmm.
His name. Oh man, it's on the tip of my mind too. His nickname was Mouse. I remember he was on, I want to say, the Sinbad show. He was his music director, and he used to refer to him as Mouse. This guy has a long career in music too. He's played with Wonder Love and a lot of other stuff, man. I cannot remember his name to save my life. The dude is he's definitely a somebody in music, but yeah. That was his one time. He said, "Oh, gotta go." He closed that upright piano.
Look, even a dog tiptoed out. Was like, "I gotta go too. Don't nobody trip over me, please."
Yeah, we had Radon Chong for a moment before she just lost her mind because I don't know what the hell happened to Radon Chong. And Radon Chong was so beautiful. She still is. I mean, I'm not saying she's not, but just I don't know.
I haven't seen her or heard anything about her.
No, her and Stacey Dash, they just kind of got out there. Stacey Dash
like that lost him out.
Yeah.
I haven't kept
Radon
up.
Chong. Yeah, I know Radon Chong, and and maybe she was right. I mean, but she had something against Oprah. She did not like Oprah, and I know she kind of, years later she started talking about.
A lot of people in the industry who seem to have come in contact with Oprah. Let me not say a lot. Some people who have come in contact with Oprah have turned off of Oprah. I'll say it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone ain't for everybody.
Exactly. Everything and everyone is not for everybody. You're right.
You're right. It is what it is.
But you know what?
The thing that I always say this to people regarding Oprah, and Oprah has said this about herself. She's very deliberate in whatever decisions that she makes regarding her business, personal relationships.
Yes.
She plays a long game, and if something is not working for her, she has no guilt about letting it go. And sometimes people, if you walk into a relationship not understanding that about Oprah, if you walk in thinking, "Oh, Oprah is my best friend," that's probably the first place where you mess up.
Well, she's a business person. I have to give it to her business wise. I have to give it to her. But so many careers were boosted or made from this movie. I know Danny Glover had been in stuff before. I think he had been in. There was a movie called Witness with Harrison Ford, and I just remember him dying in a corn silo or getting overwhelmed by all of the corn and stuff like that. He was a dirty cop in that like that. But it wasn't until, of course, the first time I remember him is from this movie, from The Color Purple, and of course he went on to.
Unknown. He wasn't unknown. He wasn't not famous when he did this. He was a known name, but like you said, it's like this. He became the villain that everybody. I'm not going to say appreciated, but
well, he was a villain for about a minute because I want to say the next year, I want to say it was either 86 or 87, Lethal Weapon came out. And that did so much to boost his career at the time. And I really appreciated that he got a chance to be Sergeant Murtaugh. And as we know, that ran for a few movies, which is really good. 4 movies, I believe, so far. Which now I don't know, with Mel Gibson and the unpleasantness he had a few years ago. I don't know if they would ever come back together again. Besides, how would you justify 2 dudes who are almost octogenarians and stuff still on the force?
Why?
So.
But it's like you hear people in conversation, if they see him on the red carpet or something like that, they go, "Oh, that's Mr." they still say that to this day.
But you know what?
It's not in the worst. It's not in the worst way. It's like
because he's done other things. But
right.
it's like Lawrence Fishburne. You know, when he played Ike. Oh my God! Did he play the hell out of Ike? You know, but the great thing is that he had a body of work outside of that.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I say you can appreciate, people can say that's Danny Glover. He played Mr. But it's not in the worst sense of I can never watch anything that he does again. It's like,
right, exactly.
It's like the latest thing that people are saying now, which is he understood the assignment. You know, he did that. And
he did it to death. He did it to death.
Exactly.
Yeah. He played the hell out of that role, as we would say. You know.
Yeah. So one person that we haven't talked about, I don't think we talked about her, but she had a role and she wasn't even on camera. Miss Tata Vega.
Tata Vega, yes, the voice, the singing voice of Shug Avery,
right?
Who was played by Margaret Avery. But the singing voice. Now, I'll tell you this: not until recently did I know who it was that was a singing voice.
Right.
We also have a music group. So just so y'all know, we do have. Okay, let me break this down real quick. Movies That Move we're here on YouTube. However, we're also on Facebook and we're on an app called Clubhouse. In addition to our Movies That Move group, Nikkei and I are also part of a group that we began called, well, I'm not going to even get into it. It's a long name. Uncle Pimp Slaps Home for Groove Junkies, Musical Misfits and Funketeers, something like that. Yeah. And, you know, Uncle Pimp Slap would
just
be
Uncle
yours truly.
That's
just be me, Uncle Pimp Slap. So anyway, and we post a lot of stuff in that group having to do with lots of music. Just music in general, but a lot of Black music gets a lot of play. So occasionally, you know, I'll post some gospel in there and stuff because I'm not a complete heathen, even though people may think so. And I messed around one day and I was just in the mood for some gospel. So I'm listening to some gospel on Amazon or whatever. So I said, you know, I'm going to pick some stuff off YouTube and post it in the group. And a song that I grew up with, because my mom was very much, not just was, she still is very much into gospel music. My mom is very much so she is a Tuesday Christian, meaning it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. My mother say, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, do speak in tongues, and the Spirit give utterance, have a mind to do right and run on and see what the end's going to be. And that's my mom. So when my dad was around, we got a chance to listen to like Zapp and Roger, you know, the Mo Bounce in the House, Parliament Funkadelic, Earth, Wind and Fire, ZZ Top, ZZ Hill, Little Milton, on and on and on and on and on and on. The Eagles and the Doobies and freaking all of that. Tower Power. That's my dad. Music across the board.
Music.
My mom. Yeah, but when I was with my mom, it was gospel all day, all the live long day. And the song that I know by Tata Vega, even though she has a long career spanning all sorts of musical genres, there's a song that she did with Andre Crouch called "Oh, It Is Jesus," and it is a beautiful song. Yeah, oh, it is Jesus. Yes, it is Jesus. That whole thing. Is Jesus in my soul? And that whole thing. For I have touched the hem of his garment. That whole thing. Man, but she tore it up at Shug Avery.
Yeah.
Man. And if we remember a few years back, and it's a few years back now, it's funny how long ago that was. It was immortalized. That scene was immortalized. It was used as inspiration for Erykah Badu's breakout hit, the very first time many of us had heard about her. And that was the first time I had a crush on her, too. Before I became more of a Jill Scott fan. But,
who have you crushed on?
I love women. I tell you my
I love women.
Huh?
I love women.
Look, this is Media That Move We, even though we're talking about Movies That Move We right now. So eventually we may start up something separate having to do just with music. And I can just go off into all of my music crushes. My very first one I remember being Donna Summer Followed very quickly, and still have a crush on Chaka Khan.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do the music thing soon.
I'm gonna take my hat off, man. Listen, Chaka. Anyway, Phyllis Hyman, and just on and on and on and on. I could just go on and on. But Tata Vega, she ended up being the inspiration. Well, I'm sorry. Her doing the voice of Suge Avery, that scene became the inspiration for On and On, the video for On and On by Erykah Badu. And
yeah, y'all look that up in your free time. That's a cool
big time. That's a beautiful video and everything. A lot of fun and stuff. Yeah. But anywho, Color Purple, awesome movie, classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Definitely worth seeing again.
I said the story stands, and just to point out, as far as the work itself, I didn't read The Color Purple, but I did read the second book in the series, because it is a series, Temple of My Familiar, years ago. Don't ask me what.
I remember the third one in that, and I never knew Temple was part of that, was a trilogy. It made it a trilogy. But I thought the only follow-up to that was Possessing the Secret of Joy. Yeah, and I started reading it. I never finished it, but I started reading. I think I got sidetracked by Terry McMillan back then, because Terry McMillan, she had already released Mama, and she hadn't started making movies yet. You know, like, stuff hadn't been made out of her stuff yet, but Disappearing Acts fell into my lap, and I could not let that book go. I was like, wow, man, this is really, really cool.
Well, I think this was the other thing that was a big deal about this movie being made. Not just the fact that Steven Spielberg, a white Jewish guy, was the director, and it was produced by white people, because a lot of Black people were like, wait a minute, should they be telling our stories? But the fact that Alice Walker, her work was being counted as literature, was being turned into a movie, because there's not a lot of Black authors, period, male or female, who are counted as literature in, the written world. And so
you know which one I want to say. I mean, but it's not a woman, but my favorite author. You already know.
Go for it. Tell them who it is.
Walter Mosley, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The Easy Rawlins mysteries, I love. And of course, we're going to have to, at some point, discuss Devil in a Blue Dress. Oh my goodness. That movie wasn't even a hit when it came out. And it probably has, like, at best, maybe like a cult following. But you talk about a perfectly made movie from a perfect novel. And they changed some things. Of course, they added a character or two and changed a few things and diminished a certain relationship in there and stuff like that. But man, Denzel and Don Cheadle. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Not that he upstaged Denzel, but to be able to say that you were going tete-a-tete and you were able to steal the spotlight even for a moment from Denzel Washington is like somebody getting on stage with Patti LaBelle and being able to just hang. So, for instance, Mr. I'll keep forgetting, baby, Michael McDonald, he gets all kind of points for "Oh my own." Yo, man. He's singing through the beard, man. The beard makes him sing like that. I'm telling you. Listen. And surprisingly, Michael Bolton was able to hang. Now, of course, a lot of people laugh at Michael Bolton. I was never really in his music, but hats off to the guy, whatever like that. But he was able to hang.
Valentine's special, that whole cover, I'm traumatized. But anyway, whole other thing.
Yeah. Whole other thing. Yeah. A couple other things we can get off into later on.
Yeah.
But Color Purple, we need to wrap this up. Color Purple. What do you think, Nikkei? Is it a classic? Is it worth viewing still? Is it something that we should still be talking about? You said Mos Def, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
This one's going to stand for a long time.
I think so too. And I don't think it's going to have the same kind of tarnish on its aging process like oh man, what is the name of, oh my goodness. It's been made twice already. Oh man, I cannot think of it off the top of my head. But at the end, the woman is running, Piola is running behind the casket. Mama, mama. Oh my goodness.
Imitation of Life.
Imitation of Life. I was going to say the color of life, not the color.
Yeah.
The imitation of life. Yeah, imitation of life. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my feeling, I don't know how I would feel if they attempted to remake The Color Purple.
They shouldn't remake that.
I don't think they could do this.
They should not remake.
I don't think they could do this again.
Let that be. Just leave it where it is. Let it lie.
You know someone's gonna try, because Whoopi was just Whoopi silly. Period. Whoopi is silly, and I think that's what makes this movie work, because you have somebody that plays the role so demure and so shy and just so mouse-like. And that's what really makes it. And can you capture that again? And can you capture Miss Sophia again? I don't know.
Plus, I'm gonna tell you this. There was a young lady in the movie who kind of got overlooked. Her name is Desretta Jackson. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hope I am. She played young Celie. And of course, that puzzled look, because I had to look it up, but I remember wondering whatever happened to her. Where did she go?
Yeah.
And I don't think she ever got another role after that. She never really went for that. And a lot of people say that it was because she really wasn't what a lot of people consider pretty and all this other stuff. But I'll tell you this, I've seen her lately, because I look up weird stuff on YouTube and I looked her up, and she's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, we talked about this in the group where we talked about how, in order for a woman seemingly to make it, she has to do some things that men don't. Like we talked about how a beautiful woman can dust herself up, be ugly, and she's celebrated for it, but you can't be a plain Jane in the industry. And you have to do a whole lot more to get ahead when you're plain Jane, it seems.
But I'll tell you this, fortunately for us, we do have ladies who say at the beginning of their career, they may have been playing women who were like maybe looking at best or whatever. They kind of downplayed them or whatever like that. And some of them rise to be some of the greatest thespians that there are. And of course, you know who I'm thinking about?
Who?
I am thinking about, and it's a movie that we reviewed on our show when we did it. We did it early in our show too, on Clubhouse. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yeah.
Oh, she hits a pendulum. She hits a pendulum.
Big time.
She can go plain, and she can go glam, but she's a powerhouse actress.
Big time.
Period.
Huge
She's
time.
Powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
So
don't always judge a book by its cover, folks. It's because you're all enamored with, and there's nothing wrong with the Halle Berrys of the world or anything. I'm not knocking Halle Berry or anybody like that, but I like, and it's just me, I like some of the folks who couldn't just get by just strictly on their looks when they began with. Like if you think about it, nobody was really checking for Angela Bassett early in her career like that until she played Tina Turner. Angela Bassett like redefined beauty. And that's what ends up happening a lot of times. Ladies end up redefining beauty. They make it their own. And in a sense, I'll tell you this, bringing it back around to Color Purple, Celie had been told all through that movie, cover up your mouth, Celie. You got to smile. Ugly as creation. Or whatever dad was saying to her, and all these different people taking advantage of her and just running her down and stuff. But when Whoopi gets toward the end of that movie, and she has inherited that money, and now she's able to care for herself.
Right.
And she's on that train. And when she gets off and she sees the house that's hers, she puts those spectacles up to her face. And when she goes, and she's wearing the
right,
wearing the fur and all this other stuff. It's all in how you take care of yourself. Because everybody's not born pretty. I'm not a pretty person, but everybody's not born pretty. It's all in how you come to accept yourself.
But even Whoopi Goldberg, by industry standards, people will not say that, oh, she's gorgeous, she's glamorous. But every now and then, she'll do a photo shoot, and people be like, "Who?
Yeah,
who let her do that?"
Yeah.
But she's created her own little niche for herself that can't nobody edge in on, where she kind of does her own thing. You know,
she does do her own thing.
Yeah, she likes doing her sci-fi thing and her, you know, her cultural type thing, and she pulls off just her own thing in her own way, and she gets as glam as she wants to be when she wants to be.
Yeah, when she wants to be. Yeah.
But she acts and she has her own look. Like when she did what was that? What was the movie with the nun?
You're talking about Sister Act.
Yes. Okay. She had a certain window of low-key glam even in there. And she took it so far and was like, I don't need to be more glamorous than this.
Yeah.
And you got a glimpse of, oh, wait a minute, she's dressed up in this, and then they dialed it back for her.
Yeah, she was like a Vegas type singer or whatever and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But she has her own little niche. And even when she was in Cinderella with Brandy, I think that's probably as much glam as we've ever seen her on screen. But when she came out in the ball gown and the locks were laid, it was like, oh my goodness, who did that? Who is that? Whoopi? Oh my gosh. You know, but she has her own lane that she stands in, and it works for her.
Yes, she does. She does. Yeah, but then a woman's worth is not defined on how attractive we, like society would say. Yeah. So it goes way beyond. It transcends that, and So, and this is a good tale of that, a very good tale of that. Color Purple stands as an inspiration, I believe, to a lot of ladies, guys too. You know, because you learn a lot of stuff by watching this movie, how to treat people and how not to treat people a lot of times.
Yeah, this is a big one on relationship. And again, you know, we live in a culture where now we're examining, oh, should we allow this to stay? It's about abuse of women and all of that stuff. But you put it in context, it's about what was happening in
that time
1918, 1920, 1930.
Down south.
Know? Yeah. Right. This was the social norm of that time.
Yes.
Would we do we like this in 2021? No.
No,
but
we don't.
In 1921, 100 years ago, that's how people behaved. And you can't change history.
Nope.
So
you can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
So
triumph, a person finding herself, a woman finding herself, finding her worth, defining her worth, and helping people along the way. That was the amazing thing. How many lives were touched by Celie? You know, how many people, you know, she scratched out my blues. Remember that? You know, and man, you know, so you know, and she ended up becoming the belle of the ball, man. You know, all eyes were on Suge, but she was singing that song Sister to her, which of course it was Tata Vega singing. But when she sang that song, all the women were like, they were mad as hell. Like, you know, she put on my tablecloth. You know, I ain't seen a hat like that since I was at church. You know, all this other stuff.
Throwing all that shade, but guess who got celebrated? And she gave them a proper little.
Exactly. Indeed.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay, well, I think we got another one in the K.
I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, folks, please like and subscribe. We love talking about movies that feature very strong Black themes, very strong Black characters. Sometimes those are not always one and the same. We'll get on here sometime. We're going to be discussing some tropes. We may go down some rabbit holes sometime. Maybe start talking about a certain actor or writer or director and just start going for the gusto with that and stuff. That's the great thing about being here on YouTube. But it means so much. If you like our videos, subscribe and share our videos if you don't mind.
Yeah,
so this is Don. Yep.
Hey.
That's Nikkei.
Hey.
Right over there. Movies that move we. Check us out here on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. We have a group. Dig us. And then check us out if you're on Clubhouse. And now Clubhouse is open for, at this time that we're doing this, is just open beyond just iPhone users and like that to now Android users can get on. So please join us in a live forum to where we can discuss and you can chime in and we can hear what you think. Yep. Absolutely. So thanks for joining us.
All right. Until next time.
Till next time. Take care.